Good morning, Azeroth. It is the 7th of August 2024. Grab your morning beverage, and today we talk about the new Threads of Destiny animated short that the WoW team have posted. Now, I love the humanizing of the Nerubians and seeing them starving outside the city, trying to just get something for themselves as their society crumbles around them. I love seeing Xal'atath crawl her way out of that portal, very horror-esque, with the slanted angles, and then just her expression as the short continues, this almost manipulative glee that she wears across her face as the act of betrayal is committed, and the void stars kind of drifting out and from the cloak, symbolizing and linking this kind of newer take on the void that we've seen building throughout the end of Dragonflight in the later patches, and what that means for like the themes of the void going forward and how it's going to be presented. And the former queen, I feel, her path to say we must endure, we must wait, leaves me with the question, well, what was she waiting for? What salvation was on its way? What did she want as that ultimate goal so that her daughter could inherit as queen proper? And with all that, we'll of course be jumping back into our alt train. We're going to have a quick start with our rogue in Dalaran, and we're going to jump into the echoes there. Honestly, I could talk about the cinematics and analyse for ages. I'm not an expert in the field, but I love delving deep into things like that. I love seeing folks talk about it. I love watching the breakdowns that people put out. I love obsessing over all the little details that come up. Because I think every time they put them together, even, say, the ones in Shadowlands, like, there was still so much to talk about and so much to glean from the little stories they were showing. And just seeing the Nerubians get a bit more, as I said earlier, humanizing, having that element of connection to them. Especially seeing the... oh, well, the young Queen was a princess, I suppose, and Sarek, and going through kind of her journey, and understanding Xal'atath was working every angle. I think it bodes well for just how well Xal'atath has come across as a villain. And the means by which she has set all this up long term. I think it's very interesting for the game ahead. Try not to get killed by mobs and scorpions. We've missed the first wave of players, I believe, however. We still got to chunk our way through.
I need to target something first.
I know you do, my dear. Bit to mosh. I think that's where people will be going first.
Are these Azeroth's memories or ours? It's fascinating how strongly
No one started
Azeroth
fighting Mosh yet.
remembers
We'll do
these
the other one.
events.
I am out of range.
Lacking AoE options immediately. Ah! I know we have Blade Flurry, but we have to actually hit the thing.
I must get closer.
That level there? No.
I require a target.
Just other people around us leveling. There we are. Stick with the group. Fighting our way through. Again, it won't be as quick as the first pack. But we will be able to run away. That's not vanish. You'll vanish. There we are. It leads me to think, like, obviously they're either going to do focusing on our potential foes in the war within with these shows, because they never just do one. They never just do one. So will we get the splintering of the Earthen tribes? Will that be a front runner? I'm trying to think of each zone. It would be very interesting to see a Cobalt one. Can't necessarily see that happening, but it's a possibility. I think certainly we'll have one from the Arathi and Hallowfall. I feel like they've made too much of a point of that for it not to be the case. And we got the Nerubians in that final zone. The Arathi and Hallowfall, and they're fighting the Nerubians, so it can't be them. Got the Earthen and the Kobolds. We could get something on the Haranir, which is the half troll, half elf looking race. There's a good possibility there. Keep following the crowd.
We overcame this once, and we will once more.
Wave 1 and 2 of the event seems like the way to go. We just get some shots off. And a ding for us, we'll take that.
I do not have a target.
He doesn't. I'm still really eager for them to put out something in the vein of Old Soldier. Like, you know, a big old cinematic. Or a series of them.
I need to target something.
It's just difficult to think what subject matter in terms of characters. Like, we could go with, like, our party of heroes, your Anduins, your Thralls, your Jainas. It'd certainly be, like, front of mind for that kind of thing.
I require a target.
But we can't say for sure. They have to kind of bank on... Oops. Why is the item level so low? That's fine. It's new. It's new. Nope. Get off me, Raptor.
I wouldn't call this.
I think they're sticking to the strength of Xalatath, probably the most marketable villain we've seen in a very long time. I think she's been doing very well. And has been seeded in the game for a long enough time where obviously it will never stand in the same vein as, say, Arthas, who had Warcraft 3. You know, he had a whole of a game to delve into where you played as him for a good chunk of time. You went through a lot of his story. It'll be very hard to recapture that in a world where they're only able to deliver WoW itself. But you never know. Whether that's some kind of animated show on Netflix or it's some kind of... It just has to be something that catches people and lets them dive into it a bit more. That isn't, you know, a book. Because you only get so many folk. Only the real dedicated lore heads who have already been there will go into that. But the animated shorts do an absolute banging job of drawing people in. Even folks who normally probably wouldn't go into the lore tend to watch the animated shorts. And Threads of Destiny, I think, was a pretty good starting point for what is to come. I highly recommend giving it a watch. It's just fun to see more Nerubian culture, some history. Especially when their history is in, oh, it's either been those who have aligned with the Black Empire, it's been those who were taken by Arthas, and it's just been these spider folks who have been our foes for a long time. As we said earlier, some of that humanizing. Very necessary, especially if we're going to be working with some in a Kuramar-esque fashion. Now though, we keep on stabbing the intricacies of the war within. Still over a week or so out. Couple of weeks even. Oh, another level, look at that. That was a funny amount noise. Big squeak. Oh, it was the otter. Big squeaks.
It's fascinating how strongly Azeroth remembers these events.
A few more left. Sure, we're booping all of them. Oh no, straight into some water. Come here, fish. There we go, we get some people on side and we're fine. Quite. Sleepy pirates. Keep shanking and stabbing. Make sure we're tagging. Next. Of the herd of everyone taking off into the air. It looks like the vast majority are skyriding too these days.
And we will once more. I need to get closer.
Ah, good time zone to you, Sir Critical. Hope you're well today. How you been holding up, bub? We had a look at this new animated short from the WoW team. Came out last night. Mayhaps in the morning for yourself. Streaming's been going alright. We finished up Hades 2. At least as much of the early access as I wanted to dig into. We started on Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun. Had a couple streams of that. And they've gone pretty well. It's a very intense game that I am not fantastic at, but I've had a lot of fun chonking our way through it. No, you did. It is indeed. It is indeed. But it's been a lot of fun, actually. Bolt Gun has been a great deal of fun.
Echo radiant.
Back to work, peons. We'll certainly be playing more of it. Nope, we vanish. Been a 40k fan for quite some time. Don't collect like I used to, but I used to love just bashing kits together, attempting and failing to paint them up to a reasonable degree. Especially with Space Marine 2 coming later this year. I was very happy to get something Warhammer related up on the channel. Oh no. Oh, we leveled, that's fine.
We must take her down.
You know what, I was expecting it to be a bit of fun, but I feel like they've really nailed just making a 40k game. and playing it straight and over the top with the, like, just how you interact with the environment, the taunting, saying around with the environment, but like just completely blood piling enemies. It's an absolute joy. Oh, Roll the Bones doesn't require combo points anymore. I don't know if it ever did. That's just my lack of experience playing Rogue. Glad you're smiling. Busy's not always bad as well. Glad you're doing alright. It's lovely to see you. Oh, absolutely. Like, you know, it's that Xbox 360 era of game that's just it, unabashedly a video game, if you get what I mean. Just completely does what it's does what it's set out to do. Does so really well. It was just a lot of fun, and while the multiplayer had its problems being peer-to-peer, that was still really enjoyable. Like I had a grand old time bashing about on the multiplayer for the first few weeks or so of it. And even going back now, there's a very dedicated community of folks who still play that first one. A few Warhammer YouTubers I've seen keeping it, trying to keep that going, especially in the lead up to the second game. We know the second one's got free-player co-op. We know it goes through, you can co-op the campaign, you've got separate co-op missions that you can do, and you've got the multiplayer. Like the versus multiplayer, the 6v6. And assuming it all goes well and it sells well enough, there's always a lot more they can do with it. And they've said they don't want to do a load of microtransactions. We'll have to see how they feel about that. Over time, business tends to get in the way. Why are we a pirate? Go away. Run away! My biggest concern for it, honestly, is the tech they've made for it to make all these giant tyrannid swarms. I worry about performance, especially when they cancelled their little beta test that they were intending to do. Just gives me a moment's pause, but it's certainly one that I want to jump in with straight away when it comes out. We'll have to see how far we are through the Elden Ring DLC at that point. I'm hoping that by the time we start the Elden Ring DLC, we can get that mostly done before we get to that point. We'll have to wait and see. I don't mind playing things a bit late. It means the viewership might not be as high, but these are still early days for me to be truly concerned about such things when we just need content on the channel. But the biggest problem with, and I completely agree, the biggest problem with getting legislation is for one, understanding the nuances between different games and how companies do it. And also
much to be done.
Understanding that such legislation cannot be obscenely draconic and limiting, just so we don't then end up in bad practices. We'll have to see. I think the internet as a whole is just, like, the law has not caught up in the vast majority of the world, if not all of it, to a point where it is properly considered and looked at. And I think you're starting to see more of that in recent years. And social media companies are just like, we're not responsible. Like, there've only been very small steps, from what I can tell from them, to actually
What is your purpose?
even just look after people online, let alone spread of misinformation or data privacy. Like, that was one of the first ones that got looked at in the past 10 years. But there's a lot of work to be done. I think as generations who grew up with the internet get into positions of power in the world, we might see a lot of positive change, but it's always very difficult when money always speaks the loudest. Such is the world we live in. Oh, I do so every time, like, that trying to make sure that... Now, I think my PC, it's the 3080, the graphics card in it, and I'm not very tech-minded. I don't know all the details. I know I can still run most things on Ultra, but locking things to 60 is something I always do as well. Just to be sure. PC can get very hot. Even just streaming, it's been a little worrying at times. Right, we'll wait for our queues to pop, have a quick fly around. Ooh, we got some post. What you got for me, Postmaster? A miscellaneous quest. I am a warlock. Oh, that'll be unlocking more customization stuff. Can't do that yet. Don't think we can while we're in mists. Right, let's go see if the Shar's up. But I'm pretty sure I got my mic cancellation to the point it doesn't pick up the fans at all. Just have to be careful. It was less an issue of playing a game and streaming. It has been playing, streaming, and recording at the same time. That's been the most... Oh, it spawned us under... What? There we are. That has been the most trouble. And I think of all the games I tested before getting going, WoW has been the most intensive. And I can only assume that's because of, you know, its massively online nature. I tried a few different indie games. I tried Elden Ring. I tried a few other bits and bobs. And Boltgun seems to run fine. We had a couple of frame drops in one of the more busy areas where there were a load of enemies. But for the most part, we seem to be okay. Again, we'll truly be tested with something newer like Space Marine. Part of the reason why I won't mind playing them a little later. Just so some patches can get through. But we'll have to see where it lines up. Can he say for sure at this point? Oh, level. Bum, bum, bum. Boop. That boat's on fire. They're going to put that boat on fire. We'll go the other direction. Get all our demons. Get in there. Blow them up. Get Belgard back out. Come on, bats. Big explosions. Bum, 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 bum. Delicious. Go on, imps. Oh, that's so good. Really coming around on this spec. Really enjoying it. Oh, I'm well aware of the potential pitfalls, whether that's backseating or dying repeatedly and people getting frustrated. But, pardon me. Oh, caught that cough. But I've played through the base game, went through it plenty of times to get all the achievements, all the different endings. I think my character's level either like 170 or 200 and something, I'm not sure. But I know the DLC has its own leveling curve, as it were. I'm just going to play it how I always play him. Which might be a little slower than some like, but I try and take it all in. I try and engage with the lore best I can. Get a bonus Felguard. Sure, let's add more people. The only thing I know for sure for the DLC is that I have to be careful of going into like certain areas that will break off the storylines. Like if you push yourself and explore too far, all the NPC storylines are like, oh, well, we're not doing them now. You've overdone it. So maybe some light Googling before we start. I've managed to stay relatively spoiler-free, although a couple of thumbnails and article headings very much spoil the odd bit and bob, which I'm a little frustrated about, but it's par for the course. That's the internet. I can try and mitigate that as much as you can, but there's only so much you can do. Yes, I believe it's the what are they called? Shadow tree fragments, something in that regard. Shadow tree. No, it's one of them like almost old English kind of pronunciations and spellings. And then there's another one that you level up your spirit ashes with. The 2 currencies I need to be exploring for and keeping an eye on. I think first we're doing kind of, as Hades 2 was kind of a longer playthrough. I know Bolt Gun isn't a massive game. So we're going through that first. And then I think we'll do a shorter and calm one. I was thinking Journey. Skidoo fragments. I like that. We'll be going through Journey from the PS3 days, I think next, just because I never had a PS3 at the time. And I've always been, it's one of those games that people say, oh, this is one you should just tick off your list. You know, this is a game you should play. Just as an experience. So that'll only be 1 or 2 streams. And obviously Bolt Gun, I think, will go into the rest of the week. It might go into next week if we end up picking up the DLC. Giving the Horde mode a go. I know, Jaina, it's very sad. But what I don't like doing is I don't like, whenever I've watched streamers in the past, or folks playing through games on YouTube, has been the element of, you watch part 1 of a series, and then you watch part 2 or 3 or something like that, and they have like a big break where they go play other games, and they come back and like, right, they spend like 40 minutes trying to relearn the game, like, where was I, what am I doing, how do I fight, and that aspect of it always frustrated me. So the goal at the moment is to try and just focus on, obviously WoW mornings aside, is to focus on one game at a time, just so we don't run into that issue, and that when a playlist for a game is up on the channel, you know, you can rest assured that while you're watching it, you're going through a complete experience without those big breaks. Obviously, any emergencies, medical issues, or technology mess-ups aside, I just want it to be a smooth experience for folks. Which again, as the audience grows and more folks are in chatting live, maybe there'll be an element of, oh, you were playing this yesterday and you were playing it the day before, I'm sick of it. Like, there might be an element of that. And if it gets to that point, maybe we'll discuss mixing it up on a day-to-day, but I don't want to get to a point where either people are waiting ages between episodes of a playthrough, unless I'm done with it, of course. Like, if something goes terribly wrong, we have to put it on hold, or I just don't end up liking a game, which is more than possible. I still want to keep it a little more held together, for lack of a better term.
Was betrayed by 4 emperors of the Mogul.
Yes, Joe, good morning.
His body destroyed each time.
We'll just have to see over time how it goes. Now, at least for Elden Ring, a lot of folks will come for that just because, you know, it's someone going through an element of the game blind. And people, I know myself over the years, when you've played and completed a game, watching someone else go through it and watching them either screw up or see something you didn't, or however they engage with it, can be a lot of fun in and of its own. Definitely have to see how we go, though. Absolutely. Like, it is early days, the schedule can move about. I know one thing YouTube really likes is it really likes you to keep to a schedule. And for my own health, I am trying to very much keep to the Good Morning Azeroth in a morning. And then trying to get one game an evening. I've currently given myself like Sunday evenings off, but I need to be filling those with editing practice for the longer form videos to actually put those out on the channel. At the moment, just time-wise and things that need doing in the house, I have not had the time, but the more shorts I make, the faster I'm learning to edit them and get them together. So I think as I go, like, I will only be more capable of making content faster, and then we can look into the 10-minute plus kind of thing. Like pretty much any game I put and play on the channel, I want to be able to then make a video about. WoW aside, there will be WoW videos. I do want to get at least one of those done before War Within launches, or at least soon after launch, to talk through the story.
Death be a doorway, and time a window.
The ancient vaults of the kings of Mogoshan.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. I'm very cognizant of the fact that if you open up your Discord and a lot of folks can just get their way in, there can be a negative element of, you know, if an individual or a group wants to troll at that point and they just get in, that can be a problem that I'm currently not equipped to deal with. I don't have any moderators for the channel. I have experience moderating for a few years, but doing so like while I'm playing live, for example, I'm dreading the first day of someone coming in and making a fuss, and I have to be like, right, hang on stream, let me go over to the YouTube chat, let me open it up in YouTube, let me either time out or ban a person. Like, I'm not at that level quite yet. I know it'll come with time, and it'll have to. That's the internet. That's the inevitability of it. But I kind of want to stem the tide of any potential issues. I've seen people who like open up their Discord like just on occasion. It's like, oh, this week we're opening up the Discord for anyone to jump in for like 6 hours or something like that. So that might be a possibility. But having the Discord locked behind the Patreon and a paywall is also something I've seen a lot of channels do. So it's a little early days for me to say for sure either way what the best opportunity would be. But as more folks come by and suggest it, I'll be more and more open to it if that's what folks want. We will have to see how we go. Especially in these early days, well, I'm not going to be making money off any of this for quite some time. And there's elements that I need to sort out behind the scenes to get myself in a more financially viable is the wrong word, but see what assistance I can get from government sources here as I begin this journey. Let's have a quick swig of tea. You sure you do so yourselves?
If you truly wish to undo what your kind have wrought upon our land, you must first prove yourselves here in our school.
The thing was also, a lot of folks just have moderators come on for free. Ideally, I'd like to pay any moderators who come do stuff for me. Because I know it's a very thankless and usually a really stressful thing to do. And you're seeing so much garbage from folks on a day-to-day basis.
If you wish to defend your people from the Shah initiative,
Real Scrooge. I understand completely. Not like putting a bit of money aside for a content creator is not an option for a lot of people. I completely understand that.
stand aside for your fellow students. You have bested our most junior of students. Now you will face.
I just don't want to hit a floodgate and not be prepared for the negative sides of that.
Flying snow, fragrant lotus.
Like I'd at least like a couple of elements of the community who would at least be able to keep an eye on stuff while I'm asleep in my time zone, for example. Like a lot of my audience, from what I can see, just from the analytics YouTuber's already given me, the biggest percent's in America. Folks who at least have watched some of my stuff. That might just be that's probably just the shorts mind, but you know, I've been pretty good with my sleep schedule, and the times I'm going to bed, those folks are awake.
Let us see your true strength.
I'd certainly be appreciative for it. Again, an element of me wants to be at a point where I could potentially pay moderators.
When I was but a cub, I could scarcely throw a punch. But after years of training,
And I need a bit more time doing this and with folks to know for sure how to set things up. But you've been here since day one, you know, I'll certainly keep you in mind. Absolutely. I'm very grateful for you coming here and chatting and hanging out. And enjoying the content, I hope. Get out of it. Come on, imps. Oh, my demons disappeared again. Absolutely. I didn't expect it to be the sheer numbers it is. Like a huge percentage. Then we've got like a 10%, 8% in Germany, which was very interesting. I feel like there's a lot of fantasy-minded folks over there, or game-minded folks over there. Gamescom's in Germany as well this year. It usually is. Memory serves. It's been a while. Oh, well, I'm very grateful for the compliments. Tarkov is indeed a very difficult game to do so. I did give it a go, as a load of mates got into it back in the day. And I am not a sneaky individual when it comes to games. I am not subtle, I am not patient, and it was just an effort in frustration for me. It was like, well, and I'm dead. And I'm dead. And I'm sneaking around for 20 minutes and I'm dead. Like, I don't find it fun. I think the extraction shooter as a genre has a lot of potential. I think people are starting to, like, some of the fantasy games giving it a go, for example, have caught my eye a little bit. And Hunt Showdown, I think, is a wonderfully made game. But again, I wasn't very good at it and didn't put the time in to truly learn the intricacies. But Tarkoving in the back, with this in the background, you have my sympathies and I wish you luck. Oh, keep shooting. There we go. More imps, mob dudes, more bats. We summon that dude, and we summon the Doom Guard, and we summon the Tyrant. Didn't quite get the full rotation off, but it's like we summon all the different dudes, and then we summon this big dude, and then all the other dudes stay up longer.
Hatred has fled my body, and the monastery as well.
There was a lot of little details in that game to learn and to pick up. I believe they're actually putting out a new map soon. It's been some time since they've done so. I heard folks were quite excited about it. Spools. Get our booty. There we go. That one. Don't want either of those. Don't care for that one. Nah, a PvE version will do that. It's always something I find, especially because I tend to be a solo player, having an area to, especially if I enjoy a game, having an area to actually just enjoy the game at a more reasonable pace to let me actually learn it, learn the maps, learn how I can behave. From what I heard, though, they did kind of screw the pooch on the announcement and launch of that, saying it would be behind a new edition of the game that founders who'd purchased like the original big editions wouldn't get access to. It sounded very, very messy. I know they walked back a lot of that from what I remember, but it's still quite troubling to have heard. Trying to just eat their cake and then eat it again to avoid swearing. If I summon my little void dude, he's going to get murdered, but we'll try. Resurrect ourselves. Get some health stones. Alright, let's see how we go.
Yes! Bring your rage to bear! Try to strike me down!
Summon this dude. Put the debuff on him. Summon other dude. Summon more dudes. Imps. Keep the dot going. No, help me. Bats. Get in there. Okay, other people are coming. We're fine. Feel like not dying immediately. We did well, though. Imps, please. Save my bacon. Sea of Thieves seems like it's come a very long way from those early days. I remember when I first started it, they didn't really have a tutorial. They didn't really have a tutorial area. And... oh. We got mind controlled. And I just started the game and got immediately murdered by another player. It's like, well, that's not fun. I'm not having a good time. Came back with some friends, like sometime later, and enjoyed it an awful lot more. Still a little difficult solo, but certainly more than doable. Back, we're back. Okay, we need our void dude again. I know he's still there, that's fine. Just health funnel him a bit. Nom 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 nom. Some shadow bolt. Some damage resistance. More of these. Drop the corruption, pop the curse on. Summon this dude. Summon bigger dude. Bats. Do our racial to have clones. Heal him. Okay, I think the other player's still here. Yeah, that paladin's still there. We've got some backup. Surprised that we're managing to do enough damage to actually make this possible, but we'll see. I don't want to. More bats. Need more bolt. And if we can summon enough dudes. I do love my RPGs. That was kind of the genre that really got me into enjoying more games. Like, my early days were like when we had a console at home for the first time. That was the N64. That's your Super Mario, your Ocarina of Time. Those were like my initial games, let's say, for lack of a better term. And over the years, like, I've been introduced to different genres and franchises, like Tekken 3 on the PlayStation 1. Me and my brother love fighting games. I may be rubbish at them these days, but I still love playing fighting games with him. And I'm sure there'll be a couple on the channel over time, like that the League of Legends Riot one. It's going to be free to play, very excited about. I think the difference between, oh, I'm enjoying a game, to, oh, this is truly what I love, was probably like Fable 1, Dragon Age Origins, and really getting into RPGs and storytelling. Those are the ones that I've tended to stick the most and that I've spent the most time in outside of WoW. Over the years, my kind of tastes for it have gone up a lot. I've always had a bit of disdain towards the FIFA and Call of Duty, just as, you know, there are folks who'd bully at school and be like, ah, you play video games, you nerd, and you're nerd, for, again, to avoid swearing and such. But then they'd still play FIFA, they'd still play Call of Duty, they'd play Halo when it came out. Halo was a pretty big turning point as well, and getting into shooters for the first time. I remember that being quite impact, because everyone was playing Halo 3, and my friends were always getting me to try Halo 2. It was like the old PS2, GameCube, Xbox, like Lord of the Rings games, like the hack and slash. Really loved those as well. I was never quite Dynasty Warriors, but the more spectacle fighters I enjoyed more and more over time as well. And my tastes have been pretty varied. And I love the various indie games, like Bastion was a big point from Supergiant, long before Hades was a thing. Absolutely adored that. I'm trying to recall of them, like Pokemon Silver, Pokemon Yellow, were pretty informative in my younger years. Played a lot of Oblivion then, whenever we'd go and visit. And as I say, getting through Gears of War. And when we had a PC in the house, that was kind of, everyone was sharing it. And it was a, you know, big white box of a screen, a big white box of a machine, and WoW ran like garbage. Go to Altered Valley, like the big PvP battleground, and everyone would just chug. Like, you would be running in place, and everyone's gone. But it still let me experience the game for a while. I got my own PC around the time, I was looking for something to test it on. That was around the time Dawn of War 2 came out. I played some RTS over the years, like Age of Empires 2, Warcraft 3. Like, I'd embraced the genre, but I couldn't often play it very well. So then getting into my own PC and having a bit more freedom with that, Dawn of War 2, and there was a game that came on the graphics card. You know, it was like a sales deal. And that was the Batman Arkham Asylum, which, as someone who wasn't a big Batman fan outside of the movies at the time, I can't quite remember how that lined up release-wise. But that game was fantastic. And while I didn't end up playing much of the sequels, that first game was great. It did blue screen my PC and break it for like a good couple months, though. The guys at the computer shop were dumbfounded that after so much testing and trying to figure out what was breaking, he just moved like the RAM from the left slots to the right slots, and it started working. And it boggled his mind. He was like, this is like building a car with your right hand rather than your left hand, and it's suddenly working or not. It doesn't make any sense. He gave me a little Cthulhu statue to kind of commemorate the experience. Oh, dialogue. Someone makes a phone call to the house. Suddenly your game's disconnected. Oh, terrible. Terrible. Honestly, in terms of expecting to work on stuff, I don't know. It was more, can I get into a bigger company? Can I get into something like a Blizzard or a Riot or something like that? I would have loved to work on something like heavily story focused, but a lot of the learning as we were going was, you just go for the work you can get in the industry. And like maybe one day you're able to apply for a company you actually want to, but for the vast majority of developers getting your foot in the door, you take what you can get. And that's all you can do. Like, connections aside, a lot of folks who go to like conventions and stuff or know folks, like, connections are like more than half the battle for a lot of people. Well, exactly. It was an obscene problem. It was absolutely ridiculous, but I love for it just the, bless that computer shop, like shut down like early this year. Couldn't quite keep going after everything that happened over COVID. and all the scalping that was done. Like, they couldn't fulfill orders for people just because people were picking up the graphics cards before anything could happen. But it was really fun. Remember the first time my dad took me, the individual working there kind of like, oh, you're a big fan of Lord of the Rings? And I went, oh yeah, I love Lord of the Rings, I love all those films. And he went, have you read the books? And I said, oh, I haven't read the books yet. No. And he looked at my dad, looked at me, and then gave me a slap on the back of the head. Like, not like massive hitting me, but for a complete stranger, from my perspective, who just cracked me on the back of the head, I was like, what? And my dad looking at him, looking at me, looking at him, and he's like, no, he's right. You haven't read them yet. I was like, what? I just grew to love the guys there. Fantastic. I hope they're doing alright, wherever life has ended up for them.
I hear a faint humming. It is coming from this direction.
Need a drink and a quick cough. Oh, there we go. How's our tea doing? Cold. So very cold. Oh. Oh. Oh, we're at the back of the pack. It's a good chance we get locked out of the door. We're fine. That's good. We were just grateful to have a local shop that could do such things, to be fair, that wasn't like a chain. Just because, again, I know little bits about tech stuff, but I am woefully inept with it.
This seems to be a terminal controlling
But it's
the
me.
device. Let's see here.
I can only imagine, especially depending on who you're working with as well. Especially when you're working with older folks and those who really don't get technology, like on a fundamental level. Still have to explain to my parents that your email is not tied to a device. It is an account on the internet, in the cloud. It exists separate from things, and like having the same conversation once a month. I don't fault them though. It's ridiculous to think about. Just when I was a kid, there was no internet, or at least it wasn't in the same form, if at all. You know, like forums and stuff, and like YouTube didn't exist. It's crazy to think how far it's come in such a short period of time.
And so, the mogul's power weakens.
Turn off aeroplane mode on the tablet. Oh no.
This
Sharon, why?
but I cannot place
Oh
the
dear.
knowledge. They call to me.
You know, these, I think such things, as generations shift and change, will become a thing of the past in a way they're not now. It's just going to take a little bit longer.
It would seem the moguls salvaged.
And I don't think it's like tech companies and people developing for them make it any easier, really, for folks more aged. If anything, things move and change so fast, it's getting harder for folks to keep pace with it. At all. Like, I know folks who work at libraries, and a lot of old people who don't own computers, even folks like around their 50s, they go in and they're like, I come here to do this because I can't do it at home. And they're just having to re-explain and redo and resort, and it tends to be a lot. A lot of confusion.
Turn the machine on. I will lock the door behind you.
You don't want to be in somewhere and spending the day of your job just trying to get someone to log into their email again. It's like the shift online for at least the government over here. There's a lot of resources and stuff online, and every single website they've made and all of the different stuff they try to do tends to break, tends to be poorly built, and it's weird. It's like there's a lot of good examples of websites and infrastructure and the planning you need. Whatever tech consultants you have don't seem to be on the ball, or you're not willing to put up the money necessary to get such things working properly. That feels more like the case. That folks don't want to spend the money for the infrastructure and just assume it'll be fine. And then you have everything happening like over the pandemic where online services were stretched so thin it was an absolute mess. Can only hope they'll learn. You stalkers, bats, bigger guy, bang, ding. How are we doing now? Level 38. Some good progress, and again, it will be exponential. Get our 7%. Delicious, delicious Fred. Oh dear. Right, bobbing our talent point. Whoop. And in our quests.
What do you want? Seek the truth.
Guard yourself. Seek the truth.
Blimey.
Traveler?
I don't doubt it. There just needs to be... It's like we were saying earlier. There needs to be a real catch-up. For, like, just... tech, the internet, and... respecting the complications. You know, you hear horror stories of people getting abused and manipulated and groomed online, and part of my job when I moderated was you had to really keep a harsh eye out for that kind of thing. And so little of it, you know, I've heard from a lot of, like, especially the women I know in online spaces and in Discords and such, how careful they have to be, and how authorities across a lot of the world simply don't have the time or don't care. It's just taking a long time for any legislation to be done. I won't get into a whole rant on how terrible it is for, like, folks and women in general against that kind of thing, but... Me, as long as I listen, learn, and support where I can, that's what I can do, I suppose. For now, though, I'm going to keep clicking on these gems. Yes. Delicious purple gems. Soon to be bronze. Alright, wait, we need to check some of these others. Yep, you're all blues. Let's have a quick refresh. Tingren's gems like that. Not that one. Not that one. That one. Okay. Oh yes, much better gemage. Get all those purples in there. Lovely. Tink, tink, tink. Yeah, one more. Bit of leech, bit of mastery. Job's a good un. Alright, it's about to tick over the hour. So we'll jump back to a live realm ult. Hit another one of those Echoes events. So, for Remix, in the 12 days when it ends, all those characters will be moved over to the live realms. So we've got to make sure we spend our bronze before then. But I think given the success of it, the Game Modes team, who did the Plunderstorm event beforehand, are absolutely looking into more that they can do and more ways they can create these like bonus modes, these bonus events within that ecosystem that is WoW. You know, you've got your classics, you've got your Seasons of Discovery, you've got Hardcore, you've got the Live Realms, and now you've got Remix and Plunderstorm. So I reckon what they'll do is they'll probably move it over to a similar like Plunderstormy thing. I don't know necessarily if it'll be a PvP thing, but I think they'll change it up and do a different event the next time.
The time of the Argent Crusade.
And then whatever they do after that will go into a different remix. I mean, who knows, maybe the engagement was so strong that they just do it again immediately, but they do have to give time for the expansion to come out and get up to the point where that's been out for over a month or two, and then figure out where they go from there. It would not surprise me at all, though, to see more remix-style stuff. They've got a lot of lessons learned from this one. I think one of the main ones is just going back and doing a run-through all of the potential problems and bugs that whichever expansion they get to had beforehand, because that's something they didn't do for Remix, and it really hobbled its launch in a way that didn't have to be. And even though the team who made it were not on the WoW team back then for the most part, from what I understand, they should have still done some research on those issues. Maybe they didn't have the time or the resources, but we'll see. Next one. I mean, it technically does reward cosmetics for the game mode itself. Like, just playing through it and questing, you do get a load of bronze that you can then go and spend on transmog and mounts and stuff like that. I think that's actually worked pretty well. I think the problem they had with Plunderstorm was they put it all behind like playing the mode, and for people who didn't like PvP, they felt forced to play a mode they didn't want to. You say small indie company, and I understand the sentiment and where you're coming from. I just think this is a smaller team of, from what I understand, less than 20 people with limited resources, having to come up and build with something using old infrastructure, get it working with new mechanics, and the turnaround on that being much quicker with next to no testing. I certainly have my sympathies. I'm just happy that they're trying different things with it. And I think that sentiment you echo there, we're going to hear a lot of come the launch. Like, I'm under no illusions that launch day for the War Within will be full of disconnects, it will have bugs, there will potentially be all kinds of things that will go wrong. There's no amount of testing can predict it all. And a lot of people would just say, well, just buy a load of servers. It's not a sustainable way to do things, like upkeep of servers and having them around. Like, you're only going to get that giant influx of players for the first week, maybe two, and then it's going to plummet again. And then all that money setting up server infrastructure will just be dead. Like, it'll just be dead funds. And obviously, they have more experience than most companies in doing so. But that's another problem of the games industry, is so much talent ends up leaving it or getting laid off, that people who knew how to handle all those things end up getting fired or leaving. And you have to relearn those lessons again. And we see that happening all over, especially with the more ambitious live service launches that just, especially newer companies who just try and go straight for the live service bandwagon and don't understand the effort of keeping a live game going now. Sort of like Halo Infinite. You'd have thought Microsoft would know how to sort that out. But even with that amount of resources, they couldn't keep up the cadence players were expecting. Because it's just this ravenous fan base that never stops, that always wants more content at a scale devs simply can't put in. Especially if you want to avoid crunch. And everyone looks to Fortnite, and it's like, well, Fortnite is the exception, not the rule. Fortnite has Epic behind them, you know. Exactly, I can imagine for a game like WoW, especially for, say, that the game modes teams, you're then trying to look into like how the game was built for Mists of Pandaria, and then trying to shoehorn elements like the little the bronze scrapper thing. That's an interface from Battle for Azeroth. Like, how do you integrate and maneuver all that and get it working and stop people going to the old world without disconnecting them? And I try not to be quick in my disdain or armchair development. I used to a lot more in the past. But if anything, I'm just more sympathetic to game devs. The vast majority of the issues in the industry are CEOs, upper management, and shareholders, the ever-growing need to not just be profitable, but to be more profitable. At the cost of the people who make the game, more often than not. It doesn't mean there aren't exceptions, but I think the vast majority of people who go to work on video games could do that job or similar jobs in other tech areas or film and movies and make more than twice as much. Probably have some better protections. But we saw last week, at least they're unionising now. Like, the whole WoW team is unionised now, which should hopefully help them for the long term. Hey, and even for Fortnite, that is a dev team that has been very on record about, like, the crunch and the weight of how quickly they have to push content. And all of the, like, licensing deals and bonus kind of cameos and things with characters and companies is something others simply cannot achieve. Like, they don't have that money to throw around. Not even in the slightest. Don't get me wrong, if I was a kid and introduced to Fortnite, it's free to play, and you get all these regular updates, you get huge sweeping guests, cameos, music, films, etc, you know, anime, other video games, like, I imagine as a kid that would have been like, wow, this is awesome, this is amazing, this is the forever game that I can play for the rest of my days, that I intend to be playing games. And it's, I think, especially a lot of older folks like myself, I say older, but, you know, those who have been around for a number of years before it was ever a thing. Fortnite was not a joke, but no one thought it would ever come out, and when it did, it was PvE, and they had to completely redo and rebrand it. It's wild to think about that is the experience on both console and mobile for kids to jump in and play. Like, that's crazy. You know, how are you going to sell World of Warcraft to a younger audience, for example, and then be like, oh, by the way, it's £15, you know, however many pounds, and oh, you end up paying, or how you sort your subscription, when you can just say, well, Fortnite's free to play. You know, and that's not even getting into, like, gross microtransactions, FOMO, the overuse of battle passes, and how they are built to keep you addicted and keep you playing. Like, even without all that, WoW doing as well as it has and still going, it's a bloody miracle by comparison. I hope that the folks on the Fortnite dev team, I hope their working conditions have improved. I hope of the union efforts. I'm not quite sure the others. I know there were some Activision people, there were some ZeniMax people from Bethesda. Can't quite remember if Epic was involved yet. Hope it's soon. Exactly. And the amount of folks who pay tend to be lower, but unfortunately that tends to then be the argument, isn't it, of, well, you just don't have to buy them. And it's like, well, you're either looking at people with so much excess capital to spare, or you're looking at people who are problem spenders and addicts who can't help themselves. Like, they might not be able to afford food that week, but if the game's like, buy this thing now or it's gone forever and you better believe it'll never be back, and it's at a discount and all of that, like, those tendrils can be really hard for some people. I know for myself, I have to not play certain games because that temptation will be too strong for me. I cannot... I've spent too much money on games over the years that have done those type of things. I say at the cost of eating sometimes. Or it's like, right, I can either get this microtransaction, I can eat food, I can have some cigarettes. And food is the sacrifice. Not a smart thing to do, don't get me wrong. And then you make the purchase and it's just immediate guilt. But they know what buttons they're hitting, especially then for like folks who are neurodivergent in any way, it hits even harder. Legislation, while they were quick on the loot boxes, if they can say, oh, protect the kids, don't think they understood quite how insidious things have become, especially as more and more live services are front and centre. Actually, that's like one of the examples. Like when they did like they started doing the more interesting animated trailers, I was like, do you know what? Let's look past the meme. Let's see what this Raid Shadow Legends is all about. And I found myself enjoying it to an extent. I'm like, it's not really a game I'm playing, but I can kind of enjoy it as like a sit down, have a little bit, be in the bathroom, be outside. But then it was just, again, like how they set it up to target people. Like, oh, we've noticed you've been playing this character for this amount of time. Buy now for 12 hours. Here's the £1 pack to make this character stronger. And then if you get one of those and they know they can get you, you start getting more and similar deals that start going up in price, and the roadblocks, the more you play, come out. And there's some really insidious design elements of like, depending on the type of player you are, they know like, for example, a free player will save up for a character, and then on a whim, they can just increase the price of that character as you're about to buy it. Like they've got automated systems in place to mess with people, because they can. There's so much more that needs to be done, but... And I think the scariest thing is, now you're getting like that gacha style and free-to-play mobile games that actually look and play pretty well. You look at Hoyoverse and Genshin Impact and Zenless Zero and what was the other one? Star Rail, that they've all done. The money they're making puts the entire regular industry to shame in terms of pure profitability. And even with loot boxes pretty much either gone or they have to show the rates of drops and things, hasn't really changed anything about that. It's crazy. And I played a bit of Genshin and I was like, do you know what? For a mobile game, this is really good. I just had to stop myself because, again, the more time I put in, the more I was like, oh, I could spend a bit of money. And then the moment you open that door, you're screwed. There's no going back. I stood in the poo? I think I am. There we are. Get off it, Arthas. Get out of it. Ooh. Ooh. Keep it going. Keep some AoE. Oh, exactly. And I think the fact they do put out so much content, it's a good thing, but it's again, what is it in service of? What is the depth of it? And it will always be the money-making things first. And then it's the CEOs and shareholders who thereafter go, right, our company needs to make one of these. Where's all that money for us? kind of the cash cows everyone's gunning for. At the cost of more regular games, and even games that do well. We've seen all the layoffs in this past couple of years really ramp up, and even games that have been successful, like Hi-Fi Rush, just having the developers being shuttered, even if a game does well, it boggles the mind. You heard about Destiny this past week, having to lay off another 400 or more employees, and we don't have the money to make the content, and we're over ambitious in trying to make 3 games at once because management completely ignored what the developers were saying. And then the CEO spending nearly 3 million on cars and showing it off at a time where the employees just could have had a bit of help with that. Graceful stuff. Alright, that's our Northrend event done. Getting back to Dalaran. Quick swig of water. Oh. My apologies, I get very passionate about the subject, and I know such things are pretty commonplace in the vast majority of areas of work in the world these days. That's capitalism. But the games industry is the one I know the best. It's the one I'm most passionate about. And it just sucks to see. It's not even about learning lessons other companies have learned. It's about people just wanting more and more money. And then not being responsible. Alright. Wild things though. That's our Radiant Echoes out of the way. We'll jump into our Trial of Style. Some costume contests. Which I believe is up for 2 more days. I wouldn't call it guilty. I am always happy to answer questions. I am just very aware of how rambly I can get. I'm sure they had all kinds of different promotions and packs aimed at trying to get people into payers into payers. All that dehumanizing language. Oh, let's get them into dolphins. Let's get them into whales. Oh, yeah. Make it sound like livestock. Like, you watch some of the old GDC and game developer talks about microtransactions and just how they view consumers. It's pretty gross. It's not something limited to games, but that's the stuff I've seen the most of. Oh, now for something completely different. No! Someone declined. There we are. Get me in. Make some costumes. Right. The Trial of Style here won't be back until March, so been trying to nip in just a little bit each day. Absolutely. Soulless is absolutely the word for it. Theme. Make me laugh. Oh no. Okay, how do we make them laugh? We need something silly. Top hat. What are the silliest shoulder pads I can find? Bits of old cloth. We always bring the chicken. Broken down chest piece. Bandages. Eye gel. Flower arm. Silken. Get smaller than that. Yes. I don't quite know what I'm going for here. I'm trying to think, right, how do I make them laugh? It just looks like a rundown Okay, a shovel. Shovel always helps. What goes with a shovel? We have another crappy old looking thing. How long have we got? 1 minute left. That's fine. We're moving quick. Old garbage sword. Is there any like axe that's more gardening based? Is that what we're going for? Garden tools? Just scar knife, yeah, we'll take that. That's kind of there. I don't know if this will make people laugh. Gone plant theme. I feel like the chicken's overdoing it as well. I don't know what else I have. That's plenty. We'll see if it works. I don't know. I don't think this is as good as the one we managed the other day on the dwarf. But we'll see what the competition's like. There'll be 10 rounds of voting. We'll see if people followed the assignment, if they made it in time. No. We got a lumberjack clown. And we've got someone in the Sailor Moon outfit. We'll go with the clown. Don't get me wrong. The magical girl outfit's pretty solid. But I want people to not just pick a full set, pretty much. Don't know if we'll get this. Our opponent is Pink and Fairy. And we're just an overzealous gardener. Okay, we've got another magical girl and a clown head. And then we've got bandages, deep sea diver with a frying pan. Oh, you're getting it for the frying pan. Absolutely. I thought he's got rainbow spell effects, that's nice. Don't know how he keeps dancing like that. Oh, it's the evoker dance. He must be spamming an emote to keep dancing. I also don't know why he's dancing so quickly. Alright, we've got frying pan and we've got lumberjack. I'm giving it to frying pan. Absolutely. Oh yeah, my dude is just spamming his dance. Why is it rainbowy? Don't know. The flower crown's unique and it's got the wings. Go with this guy though. Just trying to do something different. Too many of them are using that same outfit. Feels too easy. Alright, frying pan and gear back and diving helmet. Absolutely. Getting it from me. Three rounds left. Alright, same again. Yeah, he's got the frying pan as well, but he's just... I'm annoyed that he's spamming the dance and won't stop, so I'm voting for the other person. It's like there's showmanship, and then there is whatever the hell you're doing. We'll just hit the dance as we go. The spite vote. A little bit. Let's see. Third place. Lumberjack Clown. That's pretty good. Second place. Frying pan and diving helmet. And in first place. The gnome fellow with the wings. You know what? I'm glad the others in the guardian outfit didn't get it. Very glad. Let's give him a clap. Very good. Give him a cheer.
Victory is ours.
Open our tokens. There we are. Sign up for one more of these. No, it depends how much time we're on. It's not quite half past. We can sign up for one more before we jump over to the warrior. Again, be gone after tomorrow. Might even be gone in the morning. Let's see. It ends at 10 AM. We'll definitely have to start tomorrow with... We'll do the Radiant Echo, and then we'll come and do the last bit of Trial of Style. And spend our currencies on it eventually. Now, I feel like some people just choose some very easy outs, alright? It's a costume contest. When you start seeing a lot of the same choices, it's like, come on now. And there is also, when you run out of time, it just puts on whatever costume you were last wearing. So you can see sometimes when people either didn't care or ran out of time, and then those who just didn't understand the assignment, and those working in spite of the assignment. It's like people who choose very skimpy outfits, generally speaking, or very, like, just good outfit sets to try and let that carry them. But I tend to find that anyone who uses, like, a shop-bought outfit tends to get a little more criticised if they're not using it in a creative way. But that's what I like to see. Again, transmog's not one of my favourite parts of this game. I love seeing people come up with wild stuff. Let's see what we get. Well, with it being so subjective as well for that, like, it's all sorts you can do. I'm not the most... Oh, it's freestyle. Oh, no. Okay. See, I'd lose with this one because it's just a Darnassus set. We need to try something different. This is like the hardest one. Let's go some kind of animalistic bear approach. Get one side of the Night Elf one. I want furs or rugged leathers for this. Don't have any furry shirts. Bloodied bandages, maybe. Take the tabard off. Oh, some fur over there. Bring it back. Yep, alright. Furs, furs. Come on, we must have some furry leather gloves that we can use. Desperate need of more. That's going to have to do. Aye, you just go to this old area and Burning Crusade. Like, it's in desperate need of, like, a facelift. And I don't know why it's, like, once every 6 months. Like, I don't understand the reasoning behind that. Could absolutely be on once a month. At minimum. No, the Darnassus shoulder isn't working for me. That's not quite the fur I'm looking for. Neither's that. Neither's that. Oh no. See what I mean? We're going to run out of time at this rate. That will do. 30 seconds. We need furry wep. Not quite. Oh no. 15 seconds. Odd fur weapon. I don't know. Garbage dagger and a spade. We've gone back for the spade. Why? Why have I done this? Okay, apply. That's not going to win, is it? No, I didn't put a tabard on either. Nope. No. We'll see. I think the spades actually cost us the outfit. I feel like it detracts from everything else going on. Okay, we've got, my goodness, Skimpy Human Man. And Burning Mage Lady. I don't know why she's on fire. We'll go with Skimpy Human Man, just because it's different, and hers is mostly, like, a set I don't know, actually. I don't know enough about mages. Ooh, we've got Big Blue, but he's using, like, mostly elements of that set. The different shoulder pads helps. She's using a lot of set. That's Pirate Gnome. He's got that big Alliance banner, though. I am a big fan of that. The Legendary Bow helps a little. Right, Skimpy Man again. I think in this case I give it to the Gnome just as a cool Death Knight. Freestyle's always the hardest. Like, on a Saturday and open it up for like 12 hours, like, I don't know. Maybe it's they're building out loads of rewards. We know their focus is way more on evergreen content and getting things working. For the long-term health of the game. Like, it certainly needs, like, an actual arena that isn't just a repurposed bit of the Sunwell. Don't get me wrong, it's a great idea to use a bit of that. Nah, yours is a little too haphazard, mate. Pieces don't go together. We'll give it to Fire Girl. I don't know how she's creating the ring of fire around her. Trial of Style Flames. It must be something you can buy separately. Right, her against the blue fella. Again, I just like the get-up he's got going. That's a character I like. Her outfit's not bad at all. I'm a sucker for the heavier sets. Oh, and he's doing different emotes as well. I think our Death Knight Pirate works a little better here. Sorry, Mr. Hunter. I just don't think your shoulders are going with what the rest of it's happening. There's too much classing on you. Again, I'm pretty sure the shovel's lost me this contest. Although I think Skimpy Human Male has a pretty good shot. Right, let's see then. Skimpy Male, 3rd place. Purple Mage, 2nd place. I think that's going to leave our big and blue fella in the 1st place. Ah, shame today. Past couple of days we've managed to win some of these.
Glory to the Illidari.
We've come 2nd and 1st a few times. I feel like on Cloth and Plate I just have a lot more options at my disposal. Alright, we got some tokens though. Bit of a participation award. Again, I reckon it's the shovel that lost me that one. Absolutely the shovel. Let's just bob back on what we had before. There we are. Getting back into the room, ready for another day. Whee! Happy Demon Hunter wings. There we are. We'll leave him there. I think what we'll do now, before calling it for a date, we will jump over to our warrior. The Demon Hunter themselves, when they first came in, I played around with them for a bit. I like the mobility, I like the vibe, they've been fan requested for such a long time. And I really enjoyed playing the tank one, I enjoyed playing Vengeance. The DPS one I found annoying to fight against in PvP. Because it was like, oh, we're going to drop in, we're going to do our I-beam, we're going to do a ton of damage, and then we're just going to kind of rinse and repeat. It just didn't feel fun to fight. Like, it wasn't annoying like, say, a Frost Mage or a Rogue who was really good with their stuns, where I'm just running in circles for hours trying to chase people down. But, just in terms of like a class, fantasy, and theme, I think they've done very well. Again, I'm not by any means a mythic or meta player. I couldn't tell you the specifics of how the builds have been or how high up the DPS meters they are. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you any of that, but just from a purely theme and am I having fun hitting button, I think they've done alright. And whatever changes they've had coming in through the War Within seems to just smooth that out a little bit. Now, before we queue up for all our stuff, just going to have a quick bio break. I won't be a moment, and then we will finish up our remixing for today. Again, if you haven't seen the Threads of Destiny animated short they did, we talked about it at the start of the stream. Highly recommend it. A lot of interesting stuff and questions to be asked for the War Within. Alright, we'll be right back. And we're back. Right, let's get ourselves all signed up. Scenario. Dungeon. And the 2 raids. Go see Cho again. Let's have a quick run out. Either find some bronze or see if our good old Shah friend spawned and is waiting for us. Oh, he's there. He is there. He's not dead yet.
I'm out of range.
Feed me with your anger.
No. I have been mind controlled. I'm sorry, friends. I'm gonna come boop you now.
Does that make you angry?
Oh, I killed him. Oh no. Oh, and he despawned because there was no one fighting him. Oh no. I hate to see it. He should get back up pretty quickly. Q will pop first, though. Yep. Such as it is. Such as it is. Oh.
Have you had any
In a couple days, top of the hill making Boomer's Brew. The old mist scenarios. Lightning Bolt beer. Run around, put out these kegs, spend it from lizards, make our way over the hill to the brewery. Come on, team.
We need to target something first.
No, we do. We're doing our best, love. Make sure to loot, grab our bronze. Ooh, bit of XP. Very nice. Cloak looking 125% XP. Not quite obscene yet, but they'll get there. 12 days left to get them at least to level 50. I think we're going to clear up all that we need to. I still don't think we'll necessarily have time to get a character super OP within the remix, but we'll certainly be able to spend a good heap of bronze on cosmetics and mounts and such. Alright, Blanche, let's go. Come on now. Please. There we are. Like full moonkin forms. Again, you can take that to the barber shop now. All kinds of customization for your boomies. Much as I've never been a fan. Silly big owl creature.
I don't have a target.
They are very much beloved though. For one reason or another.
Have you had any brew today?
Have? It won't be the brew you're thinking of. Speaking of, let's have another swig of tea. Oh yeah, stone cold, yeah.
Good brew.
Yep.
requires an up-
I knew it. I just don't like wasting it. Get that little bit of caffeine.
Target.
So I've never been a fan of coffee. I've never liked the smell. The taste has always put me off. I know to some people that's like heresy. How can you not like the smell of coffee? It's divine. It's how I manage my day and my morning. I've just never liked it. Might be the first job I had, like the first thing my boss made me learn was making a coffee and doing so every morning. Maybe there's a touch of resentment there, but I don't know.
Target something first.
Give me my good old PG tips and I'm happy. Just give me brew. Splash of milk, no sugar, as intended. Set me right for a while. Over the years, my mug size has escalated.
One must always make time.
And you end up just having a lot of cold brew if you're not just chugging it down.
Have any brew today?
Right. Come on now, Blanche. There we go. Now we run up, kill a few lizards, boss will jump in very angrily, and that'll be the scenario dealt with. As long as we remember to talk to Blanche at the door.
I don't have a target. Have to get closer.
There we go, all shot down. We go and see Blanche. There she comes. Look at that turtle. Look at it go. Its little legs. Yum.
Good brew requires an abundance of love. One must
Alright,
always
let's kill some
make
lizards.
time for new brew.
Blimey. Tub of cocoa powder and no tea bags. Oh dear. That drive me mad. I get what you mean about, like, this is weirdly burnt. I understand. And I'm sure a lot of people would say, oh, you just need someone to make you a good version, like a good coffee. I don't know. Maybe. And I see, we'll go from being on the same side to you calling me many names. I don't like hot chocolate. I don't like warming up my chocolate cake. I like it cold. Never liked hot chocolate. The smell of like hot chocolate and milk I've always been about either.
Firing. Let none escape. Another down.
Yeah, maybe it's just my palate over the years has developed and I've not retried things that I didn't like when I was younger. Maybe it's that. There have been a few like food I used to despise mushrooms. But these days, I can eat them, I don't mind them. I can't tank when you all running ahead of me now. There we are. But there's a lot of things that folks over the years have given me absolutely awful glances for. Like, how are you like this? Like, I don't like cream. Not a big fan of ice cream. I like it when it's like, when you're on holiday and you say get it from like, in Italy, like a little corner store that does it fresh and proper. And I'm sure there are seaside places here where you can get the same. But, it's like a bit of store-bought ice cream. Tend not to like it at all. Custard, that's another one up there. I hate the smell. I hate what it does to me cake. Been many hard opinions about such things. I try and stay pretty open-minded, but it's hard on some of the old ones. Oh no, I love chocolate in general. Absolutely, I'm a massive sweet tooth. I'll eat mousse, I'll eat cake, I'll eat puddings, I'll eat all sorts. I just don't like cream. Don't like custard. I don't need such things to enjoy me chocky. I'll have a chocolate sauce that's warm with stuff. Then in a restaurant, maybe if they've like homemade their cake and they say, oh, it's best had warm, I'll give it a go. Tend to prefer it otherwise, though. We went to the restaurant over the weekend for my brother's birthday. And people would always leave like a little bit at the starter, maybe just like some stuff they hadn't finished or they were saving room for May, and I'm like, yeah, pass me that plate over. I'll start cleaning everyone's plates up and eating most of it and regretting it later. Just not a big fan of wasting. I had an auntie of mine's wedding maybe 10 or more year ago. Can't remember exactly. But after a big hearty main course, they had this chocolate mousse for dessert. And everyone was drinking, and it was like it was a World Cup at the time. Like, everyone was spending most of that wedding on a big screen watching the football, or the rugby. It was rugby, actually, but it was a big, important one. Like, a world final of some sort, and England were in it, and everyone was excited. And everyone kept leaving their dessert. So I was just funneling around all of the, like, wedding tables, and just eating piles of the stuff. Just piles and piles of chocolate mousse. Loved it. It was great. I wasn't drinking at the time, so... Or if I was, I wasn't drinking much. So I was just able to consume all of it. That was like my entire evening. It's just nom 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 nom. More cakey goodness. Nom, nom, give me the mousse. Had a great time. Then my cousin was following around, but instead of doing that, he was polishing off everyone's drinks, which I found way more despicable at the time. I was like, no. No, not the dregs. Not the dregs. Grab this room. Shield, ignore pain. We should be alright. Our group's all fine. Boop, boop. Next room. Hit the thunderclap. Hit the revenge. Get everybody up in here. Nope. No protection. Get stunned. Wish people would use their interrupts. It's minor. It's fine. Get him. Get the debuff. Get me defenses. Nah, well, some folks were not best pleased with him after the fact. But again, when folks are drinking that much and there's stuff going to waste, like... I get it. I don't know. Were my actions of half-eaten moose or fully left moose any better? Some would argue no. I'm sure plenty of my folks did. And I said, well, none of you were eating them. Not wasting all that delicious chocky. How could you do this? Spent all this money on this wedding. Of course, I'm going to go eat all the chocolate. Leave the instance group. No, exactly. It's like, oh, you don't have to pick the interrupt, but like, although again, Shah, we've already killed you though, so we're good. I mean, obviously, if you're doing like, if you're not doing group content and you don't want to worry about it, sure. And if you're in an organized group with people, you know, you'd be like, all right, you have an interrupt and you don't need to have one, but I imagine mythics get crazy and I have no idea, to be sure. I've not done mythics really, but I imagine you have to have people with them. And I'm sure if people get kicked for not being the right gear, not having achievements, I've no doubts they get kicked for whatever talent spec they've brought. I'm pretty sure you can inspect that these days. Alright, we're just waiting for our 2 raids now. Oh, and there's one. DPS? My goodness. Swap right on over 2 arms. I agree, it's odd they aren't baseline for a lot of them. Feels very odd. I think the warrior one's baseline. Yeah, it seems to be for warriors. I can't see an option to pick it. But it varies class to class now rather than, oh, everyone has one. They've tried to move away from, oh, everyone has a raid buff or everyone has the same level of utility. They've tried to split it up again and then put them back. For some, like Shaman, for the recent changes with pre-patch, got a raid buff now. It's like a Wind Fury thing. Oh, I need me two-hander. Oops.
Considerable power over the stones.
People were very happy about that.
Their magic lingers
You
on
got to give
even
the bigger groups a reason to bring the different
I
classes.
need a target.
Oh, that boss is dead.
that
Didn't even
was
look at him.
close.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing in a lot of MMOs. Someone else will do the mechanic, someone else will sort it, and I'm there with it on cooldown because I've just done it the turn before, watching the cast going, no one? No one's got the... Okay, I see how it is.
I'm out of range.
Stories were true.
Yeah, and we're not doing content at the moment that requires such things, and when it comes to like the delves coming in the War Within, that will all be on me solo. So managing interrupts and stuns and crowd control for the harder difficulties in there will certainly be something I hope I am tested with.
Of the Mogul. His body destroyed each time, only to rise again.
Let's get our gem back on.
Is not the last.
There we go.
of Feng. The Zandalari, ancient ally.
I need a target.
We don't be needing what's back that way anyhow.
I am sorry I did
It's
not
too
tell
far
you
away.
earlier.
I need
These
to target
bugs
something
house a
first.
weapon of
Alright, clear out the remaining
power.
trolls.
Stop them. I will stay
I
behind
don't have a
and
target.
investigate this.
See,
place.
that's the crazy thing. The follower dungeons where they have bots and such in there, they will do mechanics. They will try and stand out of stuff. They will occasionally interrupt. The healer will heal you. Like, I'm really happy for that system. You just hope that more players would, I don't know, see it and go, oh yeah, I could be doing that. I could be doing that too.
Be dying.
So again, maybe I'm biased. It's been so long since I've done proper group content
I need to
that
target.
my few guns at LFR some months ago and stuff like that probably doesn't give me the most informed decision on current multiplayer community for the game.
Bah,
So I take it with a bit of salt, a
what
bit of a grain of
shame
salt,
for a Zandalari priest.
sprinkling of salt.
But it ain't no thing. Take your trinkets. You'll be needing them.
All right, one more will do it. Where are we going? Oh, there it is. Back to the time bubble. Hello, Eternus. Right, hand in our quests.
Hail, be careful.
What do you want?
Want XP.
Do not share what I have said.
Do not share what I have said.
Fascinating choice of voice lines for these Infinite fellows. I don't know if that's the same as all the... I don't think it is all the mobs that were in Dragonflight that had the same like body, like, you know, these big chunky draconic folk. I know a lot of people for the Drakfear was like, why don't we have customized options to be these kind of Drakfear? Why can't we be the big and chunky ones? I mean, obviously the Centaur ones, that's a whole of a deal. Like, there would have to be new tech made for pants and boots and such. I can completely understand them not being a thing. There's plenty of opportunity, to be sure. I know for the, again, discussing the new animated short this morning, there are certainly options for the Nerubians to maybe, in a more human-like guise, potentially be some form of allied race or player character, but I think what we're going to see first, we have the Earthen coming in, the War Within, which people have mixed feelings about. It's like, oh, another dwarf. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not hugely excited, but they've got some really cool customization. And then the Haranir, which is the half-troll, half-elves, they're looking pretty likely to be an allied race of some kind. And then you've got, like, the half-elf opulence, like that the main character Feyrin has from the Arator faction and the light folks. Like, she's a half-elf. You know, she's a human model with pointy half-elven ears. I know humans have gotten, like, you know, a lot more skin tones, a lot more hair variety, a lot of stuff there. But adding, like, an option for them to be half-elves would just be pretty popular. Oh, I can see a lot of folks were thinking the exact same thing. I imagine what it was they were building the bodies to have the wings to fly around and for sort of work. And I don't think they could one-to-one just port those animations onto the chunkier ones without them looking silly. Maybe that's some of the work they'll do mid-expansion. We know they're going to add the other classes to the Drakthir, which classes specifically we don't know, but they're going to add some to them. And change up the racials a bit. Because they said, for example, the 2 racials where you wing knock someone away and the tail swipe where you stun someone briefly would be pretty strong on a mage. So they've talked about maybe making the cooldowns higher for other classes, and then for the evoker a talent or something that knocks them back down to where they currently are, so it still works for that class. We'll have to see though. Getting such things mid-expansion could be very interesting, especially if they try to actually tie some story about it, like, oh, the Drakthir have come to join us. Traded the wins for... I see what you mean. And I'm pretty sure a lot of folks would agree with you. I think actually soaring and flying around on the Drakthir now it's like full sky riding. It's not just a little bit of like drop falling. Now it's like full sky riding without a dragon. Feels really good. It does just feel really good to just open your wings and soar off somewhere. But as you say, reducing it so, oh, I want to be a big one. I understand the game has made it clear I won't be flying with this one, but maybe I can still do a bit of the soar or something like Demon Hunters do. Possibly. I mean, they did add a 3rd spec to the Evoker. They added the augmentation for the Black Dragon earthy stuff. And that went over very controversially. It was the first real support spec in the game. And I didn't try it, and again, that's something for group content. But it either was completely broken and you bring a load of them, or it was not worth having. Again, there are rumours that we'll be getting like an earthy shaman tank spec sometime during the expansion. That's certainly a possibility for it. Now, I know plenty of Spyro fans who were customising their Drakthir to match different dragon customizations throughout that series. It doesn't surprise me at all. Just waiting for that last raid to pop. Keep an eye out for some rares. Let's head a little in the mountain. It will be interesting come the expansion's launch, because at the moment all these WoW streams have been very much going through a daily routine of checklists to tick off. So when it's opened up, and you know, obviously launch issues aside, like disconnects or potential bugs, it'll be like, right, we're just going to enjoy the story, read some quests, take our time. We'll have to see how it goes. There might be some longer WoW morning streams, especially if things are running smoothly. I'll have to limit myself a great deal. Again, the whole point of this wasn't for it to be a WoW channel, but I love WoW, and it's been with me so long, and it's going to stay with me hopefully throughout, at the very bare minimum, this whole trilogy of expansions they've got planned. And I didn't want to just swear off the game to be able to stream other things, so keeping it to a morning is very important to me. But that also means I have to be responsible and not then be like, do you know what, we're cancelling Elden Ring this evening, or we're cancelling Vault Gun, we're cancelling whatever new game has come out so I can go play more WoW. I can't let that happen. That would be disingenuous to the whole idea. We'll see where we end up. It might just mean some longer morning streams and more footage for me to edit for shorts. Or longer videos at that point, hopefully. You need to really get that ball rolling. I'll get faster at the editing. I'll get faster at sorting things out so I can open up more time to be able to learn the editing software a little better. Get myself up and going. Oh, come on, Q. Accept of a healer. Do it. Come on, we're right there. We're right there. We'll make our way back to the inn just in hope. In hope that it just pops next time. I will take the compliment. Like, there have been a couple of times I've experimented by adding a little more animation to them, especially on like the other games, like a couple of the Hades 2 shorts. But I never wanted to overdo it. Like, the whole point is to let gameplay speak for itself. It's why I'm on YouTube and not Twitch. I don't want to have, like, the chat overlaying the screen. I don't want to have a load of bells and whistles going over the top of things. I don't really want to have a face cam, at least not in these early days. Like, the streams I've liked and the content I've enjoyed watching, and it was someone talking over the game and letting the game speak for itself. So I'm trying to bear that in mind in the shorts as well. But where it's appropriate, some of the edited ones have gone over pretty well, but on the most viewed ones, I think it was just the subject matter specifically, rather than fancy effects or anything of that nature. It's just my brother told me over the weekend, it was like, you've made some spelling mistakes on some of them though. I was like, I have? Been so careful. What? I'd been so careful. Right, we'll just wait here at this table. Table not built for goblins. Sort our gems out. Here we are. Bit of clean up, bit of clean up. Just waiting for 2 healers. I'm not going to enjoy sleeping in these beds when you're just stood there, mate. You mind? Go do a bit more flying if this queue's going to take a moment. 1 healer. Nope. 3 healers. God damn it. Back in the air. Do a bit of discovery. That's fine when the zone's not been looked at all. Swoosh our way through. Should I flying towards the Alliance base just out of habit? I'm not in danger like I would have been on the live realm where you go in and land by accident then just get murdered by guards. That happened more times than I would have liked. Right, and as I say, we'll be back later with more Warhammer 40k bolt gun. We were getting absolutely bodied in the last stream. Dying a lot more. Encounters getting a lot messier, but enjoying it a great deal. And I was surprised to learn today, someone left a comment asking, oh, where can I get the game? And it was like, oh, it's on both PlayStations, like last gen and this gen, both Xboxes, PC, and it's on the Nintendo Switch. That blooming heck. You got the thing everywhere. Ah, there we go. Thank goodness. Get me back on tanking. Get me in. Grab shield. We don't want a hearthstone yet. We'll do it after if we don't get there in time. Oh, please, DPS, don't do this. Don't be AFK, come on. We all want it. We just want the queue to pop. Please. Please. Thank you. Alright. Last one through for the day. Come on, Cho. Let's get this ball rolling. Oh, I ran past him. When they added the giant rogue stealth aura.
The ancient
destruction.
Quick drink of the water.
This button do? Look here. It is the history of Zion.
Oh, too close to the mic.
Endless shadow
Make sure you're doing the same out there. Keep hydrated.
the kingdoms in check through terror and darkness. This looks to be the record of Kyang the Merciless.
Get
A great
this cleared
conqueror
out.
who ruled his vassals with an iron fist.
Oh yeah, we're dying so quick.
Tales of this one.
Tanking hardly matters, and that's fine.
Well known as a masterful archer and genius thief. He stole from the... What is this? I've heard nothing of this.
Leap.
Emperor. Then the dimension.
30, so
According to these texts,
it'll be 31 or 32
I
at
can't
the end of
stand
this.
that target.
maniacal ruler to ever abuse
We're closer
the
to
imperial throne.
having everyone at the levels we need for their heritage things. And if we go back and level the ones that are past 50, with all the big raid buffs, that's 7% every day. And people who've hit level 50, somewhere in the 250-300% of XP gain, should be very quick and easy. Get everyone else finished off. Yep, let's get stabbed by all those.
I'm out of range.
Darkness comes for you have angered the Emperor. The
Need to get closer.
Get cut off, mate. Alright, to the space dragon.
Look at the dust along the floor. These dark halls have not seen footfalls for many centuries.
My ears still
I hear
hear
a faint humming.
footballs when he says that
It is
every
coming
time.
from this direction.
I know it's footfalls, it's just how quickly he says it. They've not seen footballs for generations. And I'm like, well, wow, someone's already run through and killed them all. Uh-oh. Rocket jump. How? It's one person. Is it a demon hunter? Adrenaline, they're called. Let's have a quick look at the list. Oh yeah, it is a demon hunter. They are just swoosh. All the movement skills. Like I was saying earlier, that's like the big draw of them, is that huge amount of mobility.
This room pulses with energy, but feels unlike
Bonus
anything I've
dashes and
seen
jumps.
so far. Fascinating. I have never heard tales of anything like this. The Mogul hide their secrets well.
Alright. I think the demon hunter has in fact waited for people. Is that everyone who's going to be coming?
This seems to be a
Nope,
terminal
but someone's hit the
controlling
button.
device.
At least it
Let's
wasn't
see
me
here.
today. Anybody jump into their death? Thought about it. Both thought about it. Stood there on the edge. Oh no, Mr. Monk. Oh, too soon. Too soon and dead.
Magnificent. It
Oh, I tried to be clever.
This
Tried to
seems
leave it
all
last second.
I thought the
Just
Mogul were
biffed it
capable of.
completely. Absolutely missed the timing. Ooh, my shield's losing it. Right, debuff. And dead.
This could get messy. I will
It's level 31.
observe from a safer
One
distance.
more to go in here.
The machine has been destroyed, and so the Mogul's power weakens.
Let's see where we're
These
going.
discs look familiar, but I
Do that one.
cannot place their origin. They call to me.
Sprint and a jump and a rocket jump.
I
Ain't nobody keeping up with that demon hunter though.
everything clearly.
Could
now.
absolutely start the encounter and be done with it.
Titans. It would seem the Moguls salvaged an astounding, an actual functional Mogul. May the great grain guide
Oh,
your steps.
demon hunter, she didn't
We
press
must
it.
go.
Somebody did.
I'm not done yet.
Could you? And everybody locked out. Oh, this is a unique shield as well. I don't recognise it from beforehand. I know they put in some unique weapons and armour. Just into the remix.
It's too far away.
The waiting game. Yeah. Shot to death. Next one. Shortly shot to death. Looks like the Zandalari bear druid is just this giant spike turtle. Just having fun with the designs. It's good stuff. Having a peep at anyone's transmogs who's bothered. Some old school helmet there on that Vulpera. Big old giant crest. Was never a big fan of giant like mohawk helmets, but it's a very popular one. Or at least well regarded from a long time. Come on, come down. Let's get this finished up. Right, last two. Big old bosses come down, and that'll be our 7% for the day. All our quests done. Ready for the morrow. Hit the debuff, bob all the things, and down they go. Very good. Get our stuff. Bob our 7%, our bronze, our spools.
These machines are hidden beneath the earth.
Cloak is currently at 143%. It's not bad at all. There's only 2 characters left to hit that level 50 mark for our heritage armors and stories. We should have a few days to get those done before the expansion launches. Get ourselves back to the inn. Hello, little bandicoots. And then we'll be calling it there for the morning. No, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Oh, thank goodness. Almost got ooked in the duker. Bloody Ozen. Alright then. Well, thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed yourselves, feel free to leave a like on the video. Get yourselves down in the comments to let me know what I could be doing better or how appalling my gameplay was. Subscribe if you want more content from the channel. We'll be back this evening with Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun. Say it's mornings of WoW, in the evenings we looked at other games. We're doing Bolt Gun, then maybe an old school game like Journey. I say old school, but wonders I haven't gotten to. If you'd like to support me more directly, you can do so via the Patreon. And until next time everyone, much love, take care, and bye-bye.